On today's episode of Let's Build This, I'm going to share with you the worst 6-letter word in the English language. Stay tuned.
Here's the deal. If you're anything like me, you're probably the person who's been criticized for working too much and for putting your dreams first and hustling every chance you get. Let me guess. You've probably lost friends, family, and maybe more because of this. You got a dream, a vision for something greater than yourself that's been burning in the pit of your stomach. It pushes you forward because if you don't do it, who will? Sound like you? Then listen up. Let's dive in, learn as we go, and get stronger with each and every mistake. It's time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Let's build this.
And now a word from our sponsor, Anchor.fm. Here's the deal. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Let me start. In my first episode ever, I talked about fear. And fear comes from a lot of places, one of them being able to access technology. But Anchor FM is free. It's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They'll even distribute it for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch more. And guess what? The coolest thing is they even connect you with sponsors if you want at no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's the deal. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, go to anchor.fm to get started or search in your app library for anchor.fm. You know that feeling you get when you're relaxed and you're trying to enjoy a holiday weekend and all of a sudden you begin to get some text messages or some emails or Slack messages or whatever your favorite messaging platform is, Facebook, and you have other colleagues out there working and they're doing things even though technically it is a holiday weekend, and I typically do work on the holiday weekends, and in fact I have worked this weekend. But I'm really trying to relax a little bit, take some time for myself, clear my head a little bit. It's been a stressful couple of months. So I made that commitment to myself. But there's this one phrase, one word in my head right now that keeps playing over and over and over and over again. It builds a lot of anxiety, and it makes me get antsy and asks a lot of questions in my head about, like, am I doing enough? What needs to get done? Are you ready for the week? All those types of questions. And the number one question that comes out of this, and that 6-letter word that keeps popping up into my head, is the same one that I know everybody else does. And I actually have a phrase for it. But this 6-letter word actually drives most people nuts. And that 6-letter word is should. Why do I say that? Because when you're doing the things you know you need to be doing, and you're working hard, and you're trying to make sure everything that you're responsible for gets done, it's something that replays in everybody's head. Is I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be working this weekend. I should be responding back to every text message right away. I should be getting that one project accomplished so that I can get ahead of this week. I should. And there's a term I use for it. And this is one of those things that's actually really hard for me to do. And realistically, it's one of those things where this is a practice and a habit that I'm working really hard to build. But this specific thing of not shooting on yourself is something that I often say, but I really struggle to do myself. So I'm doing this episode more or less to give you guys an insight into the fact that all of us go through this.
And we all should on ourselves. And if you got kids in the room, they're probably shoulding, not the other one, shoulding on themselves often too. And you're doing that because you're trying to build good habits, and you're trying to build accountability, and you're trying to do all of the right things all the time. But I got news for you. It's okay to not should on yourself sometimes too, because shoulding on yourself can make a mess and can cause more pain and problems than it can solutions sometimes. And so today, I want you to give yourself permission to not should all over yourself, because often it's okay to do that. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean you let it go all the time. It doesn't mean you don't ever follow through. It means work backwards, right? If you plan to have the weekend for yourself, make sure you got everything done that you said you were going to commit to getting done prior to the weekend accomplished, okay? This is not a permission to not hold yourself accountable. This is a permission to hold true to the accountability you set and not add to it. There's a difference there, right? You did the things and everybody's set up for success and you got everything done you needed to get done in order to spend time with your family, to take time for yourself, to go for a walk with your dog, to go kayaking, to go spend time out in the bee yard, all of that stuff. Don't should on yourself and say, I should be in the office doing stuff. Instead, enjoy the time you've earned. It's your reward. That's part of the joys of being self-accountable and holding true to that. But often, like I did today, as my phone was blowing up with messages from everybody, it's one of those things that we all do. And part of the reason I'm bringing this to the forefront is because I know I know this weekend a lot of people were doing that, because everybody's still trying to play catch up. And not catch up because they haven't been working necessarily as hard, but catch up because they're trying to achieve goals. And I work with a lot of talented people who are really trying to figure out how the next 4 months of this year is going to work. And they want to close the year out on a positive note, because a lot of this year has been chaos. Now, for those of you who gave yourself permission to relax during 3 months of this COVID nightmare, or anything that's been happening, yeah, sometimes you should on yourself, because shoulding on yourself will help you catch up. But some will also say that's procrastination. So I'm giving you all permission, and those of you who are listening to this weekend for fun, cool. Don't should on yourself. So if you're listening to it and you should be taking a break, don't take a break. Those of you who are using this as an opportunity to catch up on things, use it. But if you've worked hard and you've given yourself the reward by getting things done this last week or in the last month or the last quarter, and you gave yourself permission this holiday weekend to relax, relax. And do what you need to do to alleviate the anxiety of that word, that 6-letter word, should, SHOULD, and forget it. Go enjoy it. Because shoulding on yourself just leaves a big mess. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope it was a little bit different flavor. Hope it was a little fun. And just remember the next time that those feelings come up, that, guess what? Shoulding on yourself, it's not always the most pleasant thing to do. With that, have a good weekend, good luck, and I'll talk to you next time.